Sahanavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah Harihi Om. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Hari Om. Talking about this whole universe as non-existence in its state of duality, Bhagavan Sri Adisankaracharya in Vivekachoodamani talks about contemplation on the self from verses 407 to 413. Ananyatvam adhishtanat aropyasya nirikshitam panditairajju sarpadau vikalpo bhranti jivanaha. Panditaihi, by the one who has got the knowledge of the self through Shravanam, through the Upanishads, through listening to the words of the Guru. The knowledge of the self is there. So what should that person do? He must begin to contemplate. Ananyatvam adhishtanat. In that adhishtana or the substratum, aropyasya nirikshitam. The aropya, the object that is superimposed cannot be different from the substratum. For example, the example that Bhagavan is giving is Rajju Sarpadau Vikalpaha Bhranti Jivanaha. Rajju Sarpa. There is a rope. On that rope only the snake is possible. Without the rope, the vision of the snake is not possible. Without the substratum, the vision of this universe is not possible. So the substratum is the Brahman on which the experience of this universe is superimposed. Just as the substratum is the rope on which the snake is superimposed, there is no difference between the rope and the snake. In the same way, there is no difference between the superimposed world and the Brahman. Because of the presence of Brahman, we are able to superimpose the world. Why do we see the difference then? Why do we see a rope? Why do we see a snake? Because the rope is hidden and the snake vision is projected on that. We see the universe because Brahman is hidden and we see the projection of the world in that. So the difference is existing because of our delusory thinking only. It is not there in reality. It is our delusory thought that makes us experience this world. This verses 408 to 410, 3 verses, Bhagavan Sri Adisankaracharya is trying to explain what he is happily, blissfully enjoying in the state of his knowledge of realization of this Brahman. He is trying to explain it through words for us because of the love that he has for humanity. He is trying to bring that experience of bliss into words. Chittamulo vikalpoyam chitta bhavena kaschana ataschittam samadhehi pratyagrupe paratmani chitta mulaha vikalpaha ayam. This vikalpa, or the erroneous thought that there is a universe that exists and I want to search for this Brahman, which is the self, in this universe. Chitta mulaha vikalpa ayam. This vikalpa, or this thought, or this imagination is coming because of the presence of the chitta. Chitta means takaro vai vishayaha. Chit is consciousness, ta is vishaya or object. Object of consciousness is chitta. We have many objects in our consciousness. The objects of hearing, the objects of seeing, the objects of tasting, the objects of smelling, and the object of feeling, the object of talking, the object of holding, the object of walking, the object of excreting, of reproducing, of experiencing thoughts, feelings, and emotions. All these are objects in the chitta. And this is causing the duality. This is causing the vikalpa. Chitta abhave na kaschana. When the chitta is not there, when these objects of consciousness are not there, the chitta is pure, it is only chit. Chit minus ta is chit. Ta is object, chit is consciousness. In consciousness alone, there is no duality. There is no disturbance. Chitta abhave na kaschana. This vikalpa, or the modification of different objects and thoughts and emotions, will not be there if there is no chitta. Atas chittam samadhehi. So what is the conclusion? If there is no chitta, we are not going to have any delusion about duality, about this world and I and all that. Therefore, chittam samadhehi. Make the mind turn inward into meditation. The mind turns inward in the state of sleep also, but it is ready to wake up anytime and express again in this world. But meditation is a conscious shifting of the mind from the world of the objects outside to the self within. Samadhihi pratyagrupe paratmani. Turn the mind inward into that consciousness which is present within, that supreme self which is present within us. Kimapi satata bodham kevalananda rupam nirupamamati velam nityamuktam niriham niravadhi gaganabham nishkalam nirvikalpam hradi kalayati vidwan brahma purnam samadhau. So when we say turn the mind within and look where, think about what, do what will be the next question. So Bhagavan Adisankaracharya says, Hradi kalayati vidwan. That vidwan meditates in the heart. What does he meditate about? Brahma Purnam, that complete supreme Brahman. Where does he meditate? In Samadhi, in the inward mind, where there are no objects of consciousness, there are no thoughts pertaining to the sense organs and the sense objects that the mind indulges in by thinking. It drops all that and it meditates within. Kimapi satata bodham kevala ananda rupam. So when this Vidwan has realized that there is a constant awareness which is alone and standing by itself, and the nature of this awareness is bliss. It is joy. Its form is joy. And what are the qualities of this awareness? Nirupamam. Nir upamam means there is no paralleled. Ativelam, it is having no limitations. There is no time nor space that can limit this awareness. Nitya Muktam, this awareness is always free. The room may have objects. The room itself is bound by the walls, and it contains objects that are bound in shape, form, size, and qualities. But the light that falls on the room is not bound by anything. It is free. In the same way, the light of consciousness is not bound by what it sees. It is free all times. Niriham. Niriham is there are no activities in this consciousness, whether the activities are physical, mental, emotional, or intellectual. There is no movement caused by activities in this consciousness. Niriham. Niravadhi. Gaganabham. It looks like the sky. As we have told earlier, consciousness cannot be equal to sky because space is an object of our consciousness. But the closest available comparison is space. Gaganabham, like the sky, like the space, it is niravadhi. Space is limited by space, and space is also limited by time. And time is limited by itself, and it is limited by consciousness only. So we say light years. So time is limited by itself, and it is limited by awareness about time. This consciousness is not limited by itself, and it is not limited by anything other than it, above it. Niravadhi gaganabham, like the sky, like the space. Nishkalam. This consciousness or awareness has got no parts to it. Nirvikalpam. There are no modifications in this consciousness. It is not that one consciousness is coming, it stays for some time, it goes, and another consciousness comes. No. Consciousness is ever there, permanently residing, highlighting every thought, every emotion, every experience, every object of the senses that we perceive. That consciousness, Hridi Kalayati Vidwan. The person is meditating upon it in the heart space. Heart space means this light of awareness can be experienced in this heart space. Heart space is where we experience feeling. The place where we can feeling in the center of our chest region, that's called, whenever we say I, we are referring to that space of feeling, not exactly the heart. We pontoid this as I or I. We say that is a space where we can feel life. We can feel the presence of life. And that is called the heart. Prakriti Vikriti Shunyam Bhavanatita Bhavam Samarasam Asamanam Manasambandha Duram Nigama Vachana Siddham Nityamasmat Prasiddham Hridi Kalayati Vidwan Brahma Purnam Samadhav. Prakriti, Vikruti, Shunyam. This consciousness is neither the creator nor the created. It is neither the cause of something or the effect of some cause. It is causeless. It is beyond cause and effect. Bhavana Atita Bhavam. It has an existence. This consciousness has existence. It is existence itself. It is not some temporary existence, not some temporary feeling, not some temporary emotion which comes and goes, not some temporary thought, but it is that existence which gives existence to all thoughts, emotions, words, actions, feelings. perceptions, experiences. This consciousness gives existence to everything. Samarasam, this consciousness is that juice or essence of existence that is existing equally in all beings and all objects without any differentiation between living and non-living, or between animals, plants, insects, worms, reptiles, the ocean creatures, human beings, birds. There is no difference in this consciousness. In everything, the consciousness is the same. Asamanam. This consciousness does not have any parallel to it. There's nothing else in this universe, wherever you may search, that can be told that this is like consciousness. This is equal to consciousness. It is not possible. Asamanam. Manasambandha Duram. It is beyond the pale of any measurement. You cannot measure consciousness. It is transcending all measurement. Duram. It is far away from all capacities or possibilities to measure consciousness. Nigama Vachana Siddham. Then without anything, without any perception, without any ability, how can this consciousness be known? It is known by Nigama Vachana. Nigama is the Vedas and the Upanishads. The Upanishads and the Rishis, they tell us that there is this consciousness and that can be realized. So Nigama Vachana Siddham, Nityam Asmat Prasiddham. Asmat means the Gurus are talking, the Guru Parampara, the people who have studied the Upanishads and have meditated upon this and have realized this. Asmat, we understand that this consciousness is present. Bhagavan Adisankaracharya says that consciousness, Hridi Kalayati Vidwan Brahmapurnam Samadhav. Meditate on that complete Brahman in the state of Samadhi, in the space of the heart. Bhagavan Shankaracharya is again trying to explain further because he feels this is not enough. Ajaram amaramasta bhavavastu swarupam sthimita salila rashi prakhyamakhya vihinam shamita guna vikaram shashvatam shantamekam hridi kalayati vidwan Brahma Purnam Samadhav. Ajaram Amaram Astabha Vastu Shunyam. Ajaram. This consciousness cannot decay and get old. This consciousness cannot develop wrinkles. Like the face gets wrinkled when we become old. Even space cannot get wrinkles. What to say of consciousness, which is the observer of space? Ajaram, it does not become old. Amaram, this consciousness is amara, it has got no death, it is immortal. Astabha, astabha means this consciousness is that state when all thoughts, feelings, emotions and desires become quiet. There is no experience or movement of thought in this consciousness. Everything is quietened down. That is that state. Bhava Vastu Swarupam. Bhava Vastu. That object which is existence, that existence itself is a form of consciousness. It takes that's a real form of consciousness. Sthimita Salila Rashi. If you want to give an example for this consciousness and you want to say that it will be like this, then you can think of an ocean where the waves are not moving. There are no waves in the ocean. The ocean wall or the ocean surface is very quiet. So that is the state of consciousness. Shalira Rashi, Prakhyam Akhya Vihinam. Prakyam. It cannot be described or defined in any way. It cannot be called. You cannot raise consciousness. You can call somebody. You can invoke someone. You cannot invoke consciousness. You can only realize within you. You can say, hey, you come here. We can call some person. We can even call animals. They will respond to us. Consciousness does not respond to our call. It is just present at all times without any movement. We can only realize it. We can go to it. We can reach it. We cannot call it and ask it to come here because it is there everywhere. Shamita Guna Vikaram. Shamita means the qualities of Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna, and all the modifications of these three gunas like knowledge, bliss, joy, goodness are the modifications of Sattva Guna. Some. The Mahabharata gives pages and pages of the different qualities of these gunas, but we are just talking about some few general modification. The Rajoguna modifications are anxiety, anger, jealousy, hatred, pride, arrogance, then being very ambitious, very dynamic, moving all the time, restless, agitated. These are all the qualities of Rajoguna. Tamoguna, inertia, dullness, I don't know who I am, I don't know what to do, I cannot understand what you say, I'm feeling very sleepy. These are all the qualities, modifications of Tamoguna. In consciousness, there are no modifications of these gunas, qualities. And this consciousness, is it something that comes and goes? No, it has come and then it will go away tomorrow. No. Shashvatam. It is always present. Shantam. This consciousness is very quiet. Shanti means peace. It is always there. We don't need to get peace. We don't need to work hard for peace. We just need to give up agitations and peace is already there in the form of consciousness. Ekam. This consciousness is the only one. This awareness is the only one that is the existing thing in this universe. Nothing else exists but awareness. Ekam. That consciousness, Hridi Kalayati Vidwan Brahma Purnam Samadhau. How do we reach that consciousness? How do we attain that consciousness or realize that consciousness? In that state of meditation. Samyak adhiyate manaha iti samadhihi. Where the mind completely rests. The thought doesn't rise. The thought is quiet. It doesn't get up and do some action through words and actions. The thought is very quiet. That's a state of mind in samadhi. So now what should we do? After all these descriptions have been given, Bhagavan Shankaracharya says how we should meditate. Samahitantakarana-swarupe vilokayatmanam-akhanda vaibhavam vichchindi bandham bhavagaldha-galdhitam yatnena pumstvam saphalikurushva. Saphalikurushva. We are all born here, all listening here. If you have listened to so much of Vivekachoodamani, have no doubt that you have taken this birth to realize the self. Otherwise, we could not have come this far to listen to these words of Bhagavan Adisankaracharya. So, Sapali Kurushva, fulfill that purpose of life. How? Yatnena Pumstvam. By this human being, by this masculine nature of Vairagya, giving up all attachments to sense organs and sense objects, emotions and thoughts, giving up all that, fulfill the purpose of your birth. What is the purpose? Vichchindi bandham. Give up all bondage. Don't enter into any attachment with the objects of this world. We have to come back again and be born and go through the whole process and cycle without knowing the truth. So know the truth and be free of the gandha or the vasana of bhava, of existence. The strong vasana or the pull of existence is always keeping us down because we are required for the sustenance of this world, for the running of this world. Without our agitations, without our desires, without our thoughts, without our actions, this world cannot happen. So every power in this universe tries to hold us down to this world and be attached to this world. So to be free from this world, it requires great effort and great courage with great knowledge too. Vichindi bandham. So visheshena chindi. Cut all the bondages that bind us to this world of sense objects. How? Samahita antakarana swarupe vilokaya. With a completely inwardly turned mind, a very pure equipment of the mind, meaning the manas. Manas is the mind which contains the likes and dislikes. Make it very pure, meaning have no likes and dislikes for anything special in this world. Buddhi, have the very one nischaya that I am focused on the realization of the self. Then the buddhi becomes pure. The chitta, work on the chitta constantly through the practice of meditation and karma yoga, giving up all unwanted thoughts, unwanted emotions through karma yoga, functioning, doing our bounden duties without attachment as the doer of the action and as the enjoyer of the results. And not worrying about the past and not being anxious about the future, but being available in the present moment. So that is karma yoga. Through karma yoga, the chittam can be purified of all its impurities. And then you have the ahankara. Through knowledge of the self, the ego is no more. It just dissolves when the self is known. The ego has got only a shadow presence. When that shadow presence realizes the self, the shadow disappears because it is absorbed in the light. And when this pure antakarana, swarupe vilokaya, look at your self, look at your true form. Vilokaya, atmanam akhanda vaibhavam. This atma, the self, is an unbroken celebration. We are talking of Sanskrit texts. This one, Vivekachoodamani, is written 1,000 years ago. But in recent times, we have authors like Dr. Michael Newton, who is a psychiatrist, and he has written books on past life regression, where he talks of many patients, many patients or clients he regresses, and they talk about the self. They say the self is very beautiful. It is unimaginable. It is so expansive. And in that only all this movement takes place. They're describing about that in many ways without even understanding that self is the self within me right now. Akhanda Vaibhavam. This is a celebration. All-time celebration is this self. And being in this self, which is all-time celebration, give up all attachment to anything that can limit our thoughts, our feelings and emotions to misery, to bondage, to pain, to suffering. We just need to give all that up. How? Yatnena, with great effort, by our sadhana, by Ishvara Kripa, the grace of Ishvara, meaning the prana in us, the life force in us, the grace of Guru, Guru Kripa. Guru is that light of consciousness. It can be the light of consciousness from someone beloved outside of us who is guiding our life, or it can be the light of consciousness within us. And then you have Atma Kripa, my own self, the self in all that guides us and is ever waiting for your experience of liberation. Sarvopādhi vinirmuktam Satchidanandamadvayam Bhavayatmanam atmastham Na bhuya kalpa se adhvane. Sarva upadhi vinirmuktam. Free of all upadhis. Upadhis means the physical body which limits consciousness, the mind which limits consciousness by its different thoughts and thinking patterns, the intellect which limits consciousness by its decisions and its beliefs. Vinirmuktam, free of all these limitations. Satchit Anandam Advayam. Sat means that reality, consciousness, existence. Chit is awareness of that existence, awareness of itself, and awareness of everything else that is experienced in existence. Anandam is bliss, the experience of joy within. Advayam, the non-dual presence. Non-dual means there's nothing other than consciousness. There's nothing other than I. That I in our name, when we say I or when we refer to our name, something in us tries to say, yes, did you call me? That essence of that I is consciousness. Bhavaya atmanam atmastham. Being in the self, bhavaya, meditate upon the self. When you do that, what happens? Na bhuyaha kalpyase advani. This world is not imagined. We don't need to come back into this world once this self is realized. It finishes the cycles, the millions of lifetimes of cycles of birth and death is over in this one stroke of self-realization. So may we move. It is only for people who want self-realization. If people are very happy with the world, with all its suffering, all its misery, all its poverty, all its conflict, all its discrepancies and disorientation, if we love all this, then we can keep coming. If we really want to put an end to all this, then the only solution is to not return. And so that happens by realization of the self. That is the only means by which we cannot come back into this world, when we realize the self. So we will continue tomorrow with the next set of verses which speak about the science of reality and its benefits. What is the use of knowing the self? We always like to have a purpose for which we do something. Even if we seek some knowledge, we want to know why we should know that. So that we will listen to tomorrow. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasorma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. बोलिए श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. हर नमः पार्वती पतये. हर हर महादेव. हरि ओम.